So the next topic is basically deals with the final postulate of quantum mechanics. What is the final postulate of quantum mechanics? It talks about time evolution. It talks about if the state is uh, if the state is in some if the system is in some state at time t0, what will the state be at time t at some later time. Okay, so for that we need to write down the equation whenever there is something related to time evolution, or you want to know what is the state of the system at a later time or something like that, then you should always think about solving a time dependent differential equation. Okay, because when you solve the time dependent differential equation, you will get the form of the function in terms of time, and that can give you, now you just need to plug the time and then you will get the what is the state of the system at a later time. Okay, so here also we are going to use the same concept. Okay, so what we want to determine is how a quantum state evolves in time. Okay, that is given state psi of this is the state. So this is ket psi of t0 at time t0. How will the state evolve to a later time t? Okay, all right. So we need to find, so what we need to do is we need to find an operator that will take this state to the final state. Okay, which means we need to define some operator or some function that can carry over this state to the final state. So the initial state to final state. So how we do that? So what we mean by that is the final state should be written as some operator which is a function of t and t naught multiplied acting on the initial state. Initial state is the ket psi of t naught. Okay. So what we need to do now is we need to find this operator. This operator is known as the time evolution operator or propagator. Okay, so obviously, right, because what this operator is doing, it is evolving time from t naught to t, and so the state is getting evolved from t naught to psi of t. Okay, so this is the operator. So we need to find this operator. If we find this operator, then we can know what psi of t is, given psi of t naught. Okay. Now from this equation, you can see if this was also psi of t naught, okay, so if the left hand side was also psi of t naught, then the right hand side would be u of t naught comma t naught into psi of t naught. Okay, psi of t naught should be equal to psi of t naught, which means this u operator, right, has to be equal to identity. So u t naught, okay, where nothing is changing, where the time is not evolving, for that one, u should be equal to identity operator. Obviously, because only then this will be valid, right? Because if you multiply I with anything, it remains the same. Okay, so here time is not evolving, it remains the same, which means this, so the state remains the same, which means this u should be an identity operator in the case of u of t naught comma t naught. Okay, so that just comes from the logical intuition. Now, so now given that u of t naught is I, we need to find what is u of t comma t naught. Okay, so how this operator evolves uh, from initial time to final time. Okay, so again, like I told you, whenever we want to solve some, or we need to see some time evolution, we need to solve the differential equation with respect to time. So here, what is the differential equation? For a quantum state, obviously it is the Schrodinger's equation. Okay, so we write down the Schrodinger's equation. So it is I h cross dou psi by dou t. So this is the time dependent Schrodinger equation. Okay, so if the system does not depend on time, then we can just write h psi is equal to e psi, and that is our time independent Schrodinger equation. But since our system is dependent on time, we need to write down uh, the time dependent Schrodinger equation. So that is I h cross dou by dou t into psi of t is equal to h into psi of t. Okay, so now we have, so what we'll do is we'll, instead of psi of t, we will plug this thing, okay, which is, sorry, so instead of psi of t, we will plug this term, okay, which is u of t comma t naught acting on ket psi of t naught. Okay, so we plug that here on both the sides. All right. So we plug that here on both the sides. Now what you can see, this psi of t naught, this is a function of t naught. Okay. So it does not depend on time, which means when you take the differentiation with respect to time, this term for this differentiation, this term is a constant. Okay. So you can take it outside the differentiation. It doesn't matter, right? Because this is a function only of t naught and not of t. So you're going to get I h cross, only this u is a function of t. So the differentiation with respect to time will only be for the function u of t comma t naught. So we have dou by dou t u of t comma t naught acting on psi of t naught is equal to h into u of t comma t naught acting on psi of t naught. Okay. So now psi of t naught, psi of t naught, everything is same. So what you get finally is this differential equation, which is I h cross dou by dou t u is equal to h into u. Okay, you can take I h cross to the other side. If you take it to the other side, you're going to get minus I by h cross on the other side. All right, so now we need to solve this differential equation. If we solve this differential equation, we know what u is. And once we know u, we know what psi of t is. Okay, so our problem will be solved in that sense. So how do we solve? So when we are solving this differential equation, first of all, if h, we have to see what is h, okay? So if h is a function of time, then this is not a first order differential equation, okay? Because then h is also a function of time, u is also a function of time, and then it will become a complicated differential equation. So for simplicity and for our purposes in this course, we are going to assume that h is a function that is independent. H is an operator which is independent of time. Okay. So what is h, by the way? H is nothing but your minus h cross square by 2m, dou square by dou x square plus v. Okay. Now v term can be a function of time or not a function of time. Or maybe I'll just write it here. I don't know if that will help. Let's see. So essentially what I'm saying is, you have h, which is minus h cross square by 2m, dou square by dou x square plus v of x comma t. So obviously this term is not a function of time, but this v term, okay, this potential, this can be a function of time, okay. Okay, so if this can be a function of time in general, but we are basically considering that this is not a function of time. So here we are considering that v of x comma t is same as v of x. Okay, so that's what we are considering, which means this is not a function. So if this is not a function of time, then h will also not be a function of time. So that's what I mean. So in general, h can be a function of time, but here, because we are considering that v is not a function of time, so h will also not be a function of time. Okay. All right. So if h is not a function of time, so when we are differentiating with respect to time, or we are carrying out this integration for solving this differential equation, h is just a constant as far as this differential equation is concerned. Okay. So in that sense, then you can take this u to the other side and just like you solve the first order differential equations, which you already know because you have done it in the previous semester, you can solve this and you will get the answer e power minus I into t minus t naught h of t, h by h cross. Okay, here you are obviously using the condition that u of t naught comma t naught is equal to I, right? That is equal to I. Okay, so this is your solution of your differential equation for u. So now you just plug this u back into this term, right? Here. So you're going to get psi of t. Okay. So that's it. So that is your time evolution. Sorry, where is it? So that is your time evolution for psi of t. So psi of t is given by e power minus I into t minus t naught into h operator by h cross multiplied by psi of t naught. This is the original state and this is the final state. Okay, if t naught is 0, then obviously this here we will get 0 and we will get psi of t is equal to minus so e power minus I t h by h cross into psi of 0. Okay. So the important point here that this solution was obtained assuming that h is not a function of time, that h operator is not a function of time. All right. So now, so this you have got. Okay, now we can look at what is the dagger of this u operator. So u dagger means everywhere you have to take the dagger. So minus I will become I, h. Does anyone have any question?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am,
Yes.
how e to the power t minus t naught is coming, ma'am? This t minus t naught, e to the power.
Huh. No, e to the power e to the power will come obviously because you're solving this. So you will have to take
Yeah,
into
ma'am. I know e to the power will come, like, but how t minus t naught will come?
because you have to ultimately you have to get that h. So one has to solve this, but ultimately you are going to get that u t naught comma t naught should be I. Okay, so which means that is equal to 1, which means u t naught comma t naught should be equal to, so when you plug in t naught comma t naught, it should give you 1. Okay, so if you plug it here in this term, then you're going to get 1 because it is e power 0. Okay, so using those conditions, it has been obtained that this is actually e power minus I into t minus t naught. So u t naught comma t naught should give you 1, right? So that will only give you 1 if here itself you have t minus t naught, because then if you plug in t naught minus t naught, you will get 0. So e power 0 will give you 1. Okay, because if you have, then this term might not be, so this, you will not get u of t naught comma t naught equal to 1 and also satisfying this differential equation. So using those conditions, it has been obtained that this has to be e power minus I into t minus t naught. Okay?
Okay.
All right. All right, so we were talking about U dagger. So U is this. So U dagger means everywhere you have to take the dagger. So I dagger minus I dagger will be plus I, and H dagger is just H dagger. So, but H is a Hamiltonian operator. Hamiltonian operator is always going to be Hermitian. So H dagger is going to be equal to H. Okay, which means U dagger is nothing but this term. Okay, so now if you take u into u dagger, this is nothing but taking, it's similar to taking u inverse, because even if you take u inverse, you're going to get plus I here. Okay, so this is same as u into u inverse, which is nothing but I. So this tells you that u dagger is equal to u inverse. And what is this u matrix then? If u dagger is equal to, yeah?
Unitary matrix.
Unitary matrix, yeah, exactly. So this is your unitary matrix. Okay, all right. So this is the property of the U operator. Okay. So now we have seen what is the time evolution of a time dependent state. Okay. So now we have to look at what is a stationary state. So let's see that. So time dependent Schrodinger equation for a particle of mass m moving in a time t, moving in a time dependent potential V of r comma t can be written as this, right? So here in general, this potential is going to be time dependent. So we write it as V of r comma t, the position and the time variable both are there. Okay, so this is your time dependent Schrodinger equation, this one. Okay. Now, in general, this is a function of time, but for our case, like I've told you, for all our purposes, we are going to take we are going to assume that v of r comma t is just v of r, which means v is not a function of time. Okay. So if v is not a function of time, h is going to be time independent. Okay, because there is no other term in h which is time dependent, because del square is time independent, and if v of r is also time independent, then h as a overall is time independent. Okay, so h will also be time independent. And if h is time independent, what happens is we can assume that the Schrodinger equation will have solutions which are separable. Okay, so since h is time independent, okay, it means that this term, your psi of r comma t, is actually written as pi of r into f of t. Because when you apply the spatial derivative part, so when you apply the Hamiltonian to the spatial part, only the spatial part is changing, the time part is not changing. And when you apply the time derivative part, only the time part is changing, spatial part is not changing. Which means that this function, the state function psi of r comma t, is actually in this form. So it is a multiplication of two functions. One is a spatial function and one is only a time function. Okay, so this is the solution for the Schrodinger equation. Of course, we need to find this, what is phi of r, what is f of t, but in general, this is how it will be written. Okay, so if you see here also, no, not that. Okay, let us come back to it. Okay, so what we'll do now, we'll substitute 2 into 1. What is 1? 1 is the time dependent Schrodinger equation, and 2 is the what assumption we have made. Okay, so we'll substitute 2 into 1, and what we'll get is, so wherever we have the time dependent part, we are going to only differentiate the time dependent part of this wave function. So this is going to be IH cross phi into R df by dt, which is equal to f of t into this entire term. Okay, so in this term, there is only phi of r which is coming in. Okay, because del square is acting on phi of r, v of r is acting on phi of r. Because the other term is the time dependent term, so that can be taken outside. Okay, all right. So what you can do, you can bring this phi of t. So you can bring, you can basically write down again this equation in such a manner that all the time dependent terms are on one side and all the spatial terms are on the other side. So you have f of t if you bring it here, and if you bring phi of r here, you will have this function which is only dependent on time, and this one which is only dependent on phi of r. Okay. So the only way that a function, like here the LHS is dependent only on time and RH is dependent only on spatial, on r, position r. So this is on, and both are equal. This is only possible if both of these are equal to a constant. Okay, otherwise this is not possible. Because how will it be possible that a spatial, only a spatial term is equal to time dependent term, but this spatial term does not have any time and this time does not have any spatial term. So these two are equal, which means these two are also equal to a constant individually. Okay, that is how, because it's equal to a constant, so constant and constant can match, and then it is fine. Okay, so basically we are saying that LHS is equal to RHS is equal to a constant. So because this is a Hamiltonian operator and everything, let's call the constant energy, which is E. Okay, so we are saying that LHS is equal to E, RHS is equal to E individually. All right, so let's now we can solve it. Okay, so what we have got IH cross into 1 by f of t, df of t by dt is equal to E. Okay, so this we have got. Okay, and the second term is also equal to E. So this is same as H phi is equal to E phi, right? Because this is H phi, but there is a 1 by phi r also. So yeah, so this phi r will go to the other side. So you will have H phi is equal to E phi, same as that. And this term you have to now solve. Okay, so when you solve this term, you're going to get f of t is equal to e power minus I into e minus I e t by h cross. Okay, so finally your solution for psi r comma t is going to be this term. Okay, phi of r into e power minus I et by h cross. Okay, so this solution is coming about when you are assuming that so yeah, so basically you are assuming that the solution, okay, the solution for psi of r comma t can be written in terms of separable functions of spatial variable and the time variable. Okay, so here they are not, the two are separate functions and this is just a product of the two functions. In that case, you are going to get this as a solution. Okay, so now this solution of Schrodinger's equation, right, for a time independent potential is called a stationary state. Okay, it is called a stationary state because the probability density is stationary. Okay, which means the probability density does not evolve in time. Okay, so we have to see why it does not evolve in time. Okay, all right. So I hope this is clear. So in general, okay, in general, your psi of r comma t will be this function. Okay, and this is always a stationary state if the potential in the Hamiltonian is a stationary. Is stationary meaning it is a constant for time. Okay. All right. So how is it stationary? So what is the probability density? The probability density is just the norm of the wave function, right? This we already know. So what is the norm of the wave function? So if you expand this, so obviously psi of r comma t is now phi of r into e power minus I et by h cross. So just you are just putting that in, taking the square of the norm, and then if you take the square of the norm, what is it you're getting? For this you'll have phi star r into phi r, and this you'll have e power minus I et by h cross into e power plus I et by h cross. So if you, so the obviously these two will become e power 0, which is 1, and this one will become phi of r whole square. Okay, so now you can see that this term is only a function of the spatial, the position term. It does not depend on time. That's why we say that this solution, this type of solution of the Schrodinger's equation is a stationary state, meaning the probability density is a constant in time. It does not depend on time. Okay. All right. So just to reiterate, stationary states exist only for time independent potential. That is when V of r comma t is equal to V of r. And the set of energy levels that are solutions to such a Schrodinger equation are called the energy spectrum of the system. Okay. So that is called the energy spectrum, and the states corresponding to discrete spectra are called bound states, and states corresponding to continuous spectra are called unbound states. So obviously we will look at this in detail in the next chapter when we solve some very interesting problems. But just to know that all the solutions, okay, for which the system is stationary, you will get some energy levels, and those energy levels, depending if the energy levels are discrete, okay, they are separated, like if it is n h cross omega, then n is a discrete number, 0, 1, 2, 3, like that. So in that case, it is a bound state. If the energy level is a continuous function, right, then it is a unbound state. Okay, so that is the point. All right. So obviously now the most general solution. So this is the solution of the Schrodinger equation. So if you have any Schrodinger, if you have a wave function, it will evolve in time in this manner. So you just put a e power minus I et by h cross into the original wave function. Okay, that is how it will be. So the most general solution of time-dependent Schrodinger equation can be written as an expansion in terms of stationary states. So basically what you do is you have your stationary state, okay, some function only of r into exponential e power into exponential of minus I e n t by h cross. Okay, so if you combine all these states, so how do you combine? With a linear combination. So linear combination means obviously there should be a constant into this function. So if you combine all of this, so add up all of these terms, you can get the most general solution, okay, for the Schrodinger equation. And this solution, okay, this combination of several terms like this this is not in general a stationary state, meaning that if you now take the probability, if you now try to find the probability for this term, it is not going to give you something which is time independent of time. Okay, it might give you something that is dependent on time. Okay, so that's why this general solution is not a stationary state. Okay, all right. So these things you have to remember. Okay, the important point is that the time independent Schrodinger equation in one dimension is this, right? Where you have I h cross dou psi by dou t is equal to h psi. Okay, this is fine. Okay, I was writing in 1D, right? So this has to be x. Okay, please correct the typo. And then the time dependent Schrodinger equation in 1D has to be, it is just h psi is equal to E psi. Okay, so these are the two equations that you have to remember. All right. So let's also talk about conservation of probability. So here what we'll do is we'll take the norm of the scalar product of psi with itself, which is basically the norm of psi, and show that if you evolve it in time, it is going to be 0. Okay, that is what it means by anyway. So this is another kind of proof of the same thing. So what do you mean by evolve in time? Basically, we take the time derivative of this term and it has to be 0. So we need to show this. So how do we show this? So let's start. So what we'll do is we'll start with this d by dt of psi of t, scalar product of psi of t with psi of t. So obviously you can take d by dt separately for the bra and then separately for the ket and add them up. Okay, this is just simple chain rule that I'm doing. Okay, so you have d by dt of the bra psi multiplied with ket psi, and then you have bra psi multiplied with d by dt of ket psi. Okay, so now wherever you have d by dt of psi, there you can use the time dependent Schrodinger equation. Okay, so what is d by dt psi is minus I by h cross h operator into psi. Okay, and d by dt of bra psi is same thing, just that so this everything will become the dagger, right? So minus I h cross will become I by h cross, and ket psi will become bra psi, and h operator will become h operator dagger. But h is a Hermitian operator, right? So h dagger is all anyway equal to h. So this is your term. So now what we do, we substitute this and this into this equation. Okay, so this you can work it out for yourself and see, and finally you will get this. So what these two terms are exactly equal and they cancel out. So this is going to be 0. Okay, so this is another proof that this term stays constant in time. Okay, so probability density does not evolve in time. All right, any questions up to this point? Okay, we have one more small derivation and after that we'll do 1 or 2 problems. Okay. All right. All right then. So now let's come to time evolution of expectation values. Okay, so far we have only looked at time evolution of probability density. Now we also should look at time evolution of expectation value. So what is expectation value? It is just the average of the operator, which is given by this term. Okay, so you have psi of t, so A operator sandwiched between bra psi of t and ket psi of t, right? That is your expectation value. We know this, right? This is the formula for expectation value. So time evolution, again, we have to take the derivative of this expectation value and find out what it is. Okay, so let's do that. Let's take d by dt of the expectation value. So again, we will apply the chain rule. So we'll do first d by dt of this term, d by dt of this term, d by dt of this term separately and add them all together. Okay, so that's what I have done here. Okay, I hope this part is clear. We are just doing the differentiation term by term. Okay, just like we do in chain rule. So we have d by dt of bra psi multiplied with a psi, then psi into a multiplied with d by dt of ket psi, and then psi. So dA by dt sandwiched between two psis. Okay. All right. So here there is dou A by dou t because A in general can be a function of spatial and time position. But spatial and time positions are independent variables. So when they are independent variables, dA by dt is the same as dou A by dou t. Okay, so here they have written dou A by dou t. All right. So these three terms, now you add them up. Now, just like we did for the previous one, we know what is d by dt of psi. So d by dt of psi, we have to use the time-dependent Schrodinger equation. Okay, so if we do that, we will get I by h cross, right? I hope this is clear. We just used it here, right? We have to use these two equations, okay, essentially. So if we use these two equations, then we are going to get, right? We're going to get I by h cross into this term. Here, obviously, order is important, right? So here you have h and then a. And in this term, you are going to get, right, for this term, you are going to get a into h, right? So a into h, psi of t. And then over here, this remains the same. So what is HA, right? So here, I mean, in the book, they had changed they had made I to the bottom, like they're taken I to the bottom. So basically, they're multiplying numerator and denominator with I. But you don't have to do that. You can keep it in the same way, or you can multiply numerator and denominator with I. If you multiply your numerator and denominator with I, you're going to get this term, right? Your I by h cross becomes minus 1 by I h cross, and minus I by h cross becomes 1 by I h cross. Anyway, so this is just a small mathematical thing. And now, so this is basically HA, so this is AH minus HA. Okay, so AH minus HA is nothing but your commutator relation, right? So this is nothing but your a commutator, so expectation value of the commutator A comma H, right? And plus the expectation value of dou A by dou T. Okay, so this is your formula for d by dt of the expectation value. So from this term you can see, right? So this is your formula. So from this term you can see that if A itself does not depend on time explicitly, then this term is this term is definitely going to be 0 because A does not depend on time. Second thing is if A commutes with H, right, then this term will be 0, right? Because if A commutes with H, AH minus HA will be 0, and so this term is going to be 0. Okay, so if both of these things are true, right, if both of these things are true, meaning if dou A by dou T is 0 and also that A commutes with H, then obviously dA by dt, so the time evolution of the expectation value is going to be 0, which means A is nothing but a constant. Okay, so there are such terms where the time, where these things are not dependent on time, right? So for an isolated system, these are the three operators which do not depend on time, which is linear momentum and angular momentum and the Hamiltonian operator. Okay, so these three operators for an isolated system are conserved. All right. So I hope this is clear. So I want you to find out what is dr by dt and what is dp by dt. So find out these terms. This is also given in the book. So I want you to look at it and try to see what your solution is. All right. So this is your homework problem. Any questions up to this point? Okay. So now we'll do some problems where we are actually starting with an initial state of the wave function and then we evolve it to the final state of the wave function. All right. Okay. So a particle of mass m, which moves freely inside an infinite potential well of length a, has the following initial wave function at t equal to 0. So at t equal to 0, the wave function is given by the summation of these three terms. Okay. If measurements of the energy are carried out, what are the values that will be obtained and with what probabilities? Calculate the average energy. Okay, so here we have to find out, it's the same kind of question, find out what are the possible energy values and with what probabilities we'll get those energy values. Okay, so now it is in the question it is given for you that particle is moving freely. Okay, so if the particle is moving freely, it means inside the length A, which means that within the length A, it is not feeling any potential. Okay, that's why it is moving freely. If it was feeling a potential, it cannot move freely. Okay, then it is restricted by the potential. But within length A, here it is moving freely. So if it is moving freely, it means the potential term is 0. Okay, so V of x is 0, and then your Hamiltonian is only minus h cross square by 2m into dou square by dou x square. This is your Hamiltonian because this term is 0. So what is your energy value then? Energy value is nothing but H operator sandwiched between phi n and phi n. So phi n's are the eigenstates, right? So I'm calling each of these terms as the eigenstates, and these are your individual eigenstates. Okay, so individual eigenstates are root of 2 by a sine n pi x by a. So these are your eigenstates. So if you act h on the phi n, you're going to have to do the differentiation, right? Because this is your h. So you do the differentiation and you're going to get h cross square n square pi square by 2m a square into sine n pi x by a. Okay? Yeah. All right. So here there is a 2 by a, so I missed that. So please be careful that there is a root of 2 by a as well. So this will become h phi n will become h cross square by 2m n square by pi square by a square into phi n. Okay, same thing. So now the En formula, if you substitute this into the En formula, then phi n, there'll be a scalar product between phi n, and that is going to be equal to 1, right? Because these are eigenstates. And so you will get En, your possible energy values. Now you have to see phi n, right? Phi n here it is n is 1, n is 3, and n is 5. Which means it is a combination of phi 1, phi 3, and phi 5. Okay, so you will have all the ENs will be E1, E3, and E5. Okay, so it will be E1 will be n is 1, so it will be 1 into pi, 1 into this term. E3 is n is 3, so it will be 9, 3 square which is 9, and here E5, 5 square which is 25. Okay, so these will be your terms. Okay, so now your probability of En, right? Because you had to also find out what is the probability at which those En values you're getting. So probability of En would be square of the norm of the scalar product for phi n and psi divided by psi psi. So this psi psi you can verify. Okay, you can verify from this equation if this is going to be 1. Okay, the scalar product of psi with itself is going to be 1. It is actually equal to 1, but you can verify it. So you are only left with the numerator part. Okay, so now you have to do P probability of getting E1 energy would be, instead of phi n, you have to put phi 1. Okay, so what is this? This value is 3 by 5. Okay, so you just have to do these scalar products. Okay, and then you can get it. So this value is 3 by 10 and this value is 1 by 10. And if they have asked for average energy, then all you need to do is multiply Ej with P of Ej and then add up all the for all the J's. And the J's here are 1, 3, and 5. So you need to add up for all the 3 J's. Okay, so that's how you get the average energy. I hope this is clear. Okay, please go and solve it out for yourself, and then everything will be much more clearer. All right. Now the question is, now it comes to the time evolution part. So the question is, find the wave function psi of x comma t at any later time t. So all you have to do here is your individual phi 1 of x, phi 2 of x, phi 5 of x, everything is given to you. So all you have to do is you have to plug in this extra term inside, okay, which is e into, so this phi of x, phi 1 of x into e power minus I e1 t by h cross, e power minus I e3 t by h cross, and here e power minus I e5 t by h cross. Okay, this is the way that you get the wave function at any later time t. Okay, I hope this is clear. So this is like a generalized wave function. All right, now it says determine the probability of finding the system at a time t in the state phi of x comma t. So this is some new state. Okay, So they are asking what is the probability of finding the system at time t in this state. So again, probability formula is the same, right? Okay, and then the next question is determine the probability of finding it in the state chi of x comma t. Okay, so these are your two functions. So the probability formula remains same. You have to take the scalar product of phi with psi and then take the norm of it and square it up. Okay. So how do you take the scalar product? You have to take, because this is a continuous variable, right? X is a continuous variable. So you will have to do a integration. Okay. So when you do this integration, you will have phi star and then psi multiplied with psi, and because the particle is only moving between 0 and a, so the integration limits will be from 0 to a. Okay, so if you do this integration, right, and psi of x comma t, only this term, right, only this first term will be multiplied, because with all other terms it will become 0, right? So if only first term will be multiplied, so you will get finally 1 by 10. Okay, this is going to be your answer. So it was asked for E5, right? So it will be, sorry, only this second term, the third term is going to be multiplied, right? Because that is your 5 of x. So you will get 1 by 10. Okay? All right. Similarly, for chi x of t, if you want to find the probability of the system being in this state, then you have to just apply the probability equation, which is chi, scalar product of chi with phi, and take its norm square. Okay, so again do the same kind of integration and you're going to get 0. Okay, all right, because chi is phi 2. Okay, so phi 2 multiplied with phi 5. So sine 2 pi x by a multiplied with sine 5 pi x by a, multiplied with all the individual terms. So psi is all of this, right? Multiplied with psi pi x by a sine, so this is 3. So psi 3 pi x by a and psi 5 pi x by a. Okay, so all of this will be 0. If you do the integration, you will find that it is 0 actually. So all of this will be 0, and so you are going to get probability of finding the system in the state chi is going to be 0. So you cannot get the system in state chi essentially. Yes, any questions?
Ma'am, but phi of 2 is not given, ma'am. So how we are calculating?
No, this is given, no?
This
What
phi of 2.
we are not
We have only
calculating.
phi of 1, phi of 3, and phi of 5.
So this is
Odd
given,
phi.
no? Sine 2 pi x by a. Chi is given to you. Okay, in the question, chi is given to you. And this is similar, it is a similar function. So you are writing it as phi 2 of x. Okay, because phi n of x you have written here. Okay, we have taken phi just to make things easy for us. Otherwise, you don't need to write this. You can just do it fully in integration. Okay, but it just makes it easy for us to write phi n, because this is the same term in all of it. All of this has this sign pi x by a and 1 by root a and all it has. Okay, so you can take this as phi n. So phi 2 is just this. So chi is given to you, and that is sine 2 pi x by a. So that's why I'm calling it phi 2 of x. Okay, there is no, I mean, if you don't want to call it phi 2 of x, that is also fine. You can just take this full thing and do the integrations. Okay, you have to do this integration. So just do the integrations, you will get 0. Okay, so for psi, you have to keep the entire thing, right? What is psi? Psi of x comma t is this whole thing. So you have to integrate, you have to multiply chi of x comma t with psi of x comma t, and then do the integration from 0 to a, right? So that's what you have to do.
Means psi of x has no phi 2 term. That's why it is coming.
There is no, this is a typo, no? This is minus I E3t. That's why I told you, this has to be 3, okay? Please check this typo.
Oh, okay.
This has to be phi 3. Because initially only phi 3 was given for us, no? What is psi
Yes,
x of
yes.
0? This is only phi 3, so it has to be phi 3. Okay, please check the typo. All right. So phi 2 term is not given, only phi 3 is given. So this term, if you do the integrations, it turns out to be 0. Okay, so you just have to do those integrations. All right. All right, so I hope this is clear. So you come to the next so this is your homework problem. It is same as the previous one. Okay, so consider a 1D particle which is confined within the region this and whose wave function is given by this. So find the potential V of x. Okay, so here the trick is you have to use the time dependent Schrodinger equation and then you will find the potential and calculate the probability of finding the particle in the interval between this. So that you know how to do it, right? You just have to carry out the integration. All right. Then this is also your homework problem and this is similar to your previous one, okay, which we have done just now. So consider a system whose initial state at t equal to 0 is given in terms of a complete and orthonormal set of three vectors, phi 1, phi 2, phi 3. So they are telling you that phi 1, phi 2, phi 3 are complete and orthonormal. Okay, so that helps, right? Because then there are many things that you can simplify. And psi of 0 is given by this combination of these three terms. So first thing is you need to find A. So find A so that psi of 0 is normalized. So you know how to do that. You just have to take the norm of psi of 0 and then you will be able to find A. Then second question is if the energies corresponding to these are E1, E2, E3 respectively, write down the state of the system psi of t at any later time. This also you know now. And then third is determine probability of finding the system in state phi 3 at time t. Okay, so you just have to find the probability. Okay, so these are your homework problems and we are done. So we are done with this chapter, okay, which means that your homework will be due, right? Since we are done with this chapter, but you have a mid-sem break in between. And after the, so I'm not going to ask you to submit it right after the mid-sem break, but you can, but I will set the deadline to be Wednesday or Thursday in the week after the mid-sem break. Okay, so that is when you have to submit the homework for this particular chapter. Okay, so this chapter does not have many problems, but I hope you understand the main points of this chapter, right? Everything deals with measurement and in which order you make measurements and with what probability you will get a particular measurement value. Okay, so those are the important concepts of this chapter. All right, any questions? Okay, and please remember next quiz you will not have internet access, you will not have open book access. So please study properly. Yes? Yes, who was saying? Yeah, Gaurav.
Ma'am, what is the difference between a steady state and bound state? Can you go to that page? I mean, where you're talking about bound state.
Yes. See, this you will understand. So this I am not going to go into detail right now because this you will understand when we do problems in the next chapter. But the point is that, see, either the Schrodinger equation can be, so either the H operator, Hamiltonian operator can be a discrete operator, which means it will be written in the form of a matrix, right? If it is discrete. So if it is written in the form of matrix and or even if it is not written in the form of matrix, when you solve for the energy, okay, because you have to solve the Schrodinger equation to get the energy values. So in the energy values, if you get the energies in such a way that only certain energies are possible, meaning, so like how in this problem that we just did, right, we had these energies E1, E3, E5. Okay, because the energy was such that it was n square pi square h cross square by 2na square. So n has to be some discrete number. Okay, here the discrete numbers for n are 1, 3 and 5. Okay, so when this n, this kind of energy is a discrete, so there is no like n is 1.5. No, that is not possible. N has to be a discrete number, 1, 3, 5 or whatever. So in this case, we say that it is a bound state, that the system is a bound state. Okay, which means it can only take certain discrete energy levels. It cannot take anything in between. Like it cannot take n is equal to 1.5, n equal to 1.2. That is not possible. N is a discrete number. Okay, so that is what we mean by discrete state and discrete energy levels and therefore bound state. But if you got some energy, okay, which does not have this kind of a discrete number, then you say that it is a unbound state, which means it can take continuous level of energy. The energy levels are not like discrete step by step It is not, the energy level is not step by step. It is just any energy level you can take. Okay, so that is what we mean. In this example, in this problem that we solved, the energy level is discrete because n has to be a discrete number, because that comes from our wave function. We didn't set it to be discrete, but the wave function is such that n is discrete. N is either 1 or 3 or 5. Okay, so the question itself is like that, which means n is discrete, and so these energy levels are bound states. Is that clear?
Yeah, got it, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. All right, thank you.